Well, season 2016 is done and dusted. Now we're looking ahead to what the summer and the year to come have in store. Welcome to part 2 of the Agenda's season review. I'm Michael Christian, and joining me as usual is the Herald Sun's Jay Clark. Time to look ahead, Jay.
Yes, Chris. So the trade period or exchange period is almost like a second season, really. And I think this year will be an absolute doozy with an increased salary cap, more aggressive movement. I really think there could be some surprises in store. But one thing we do know, and we've mentioned a few times on the agenda, is that Travis Cloke has requested a trade. He's out of Collingwood. You've been a big supporter of Travis. Were you surprised by this news? Or
yes and no. I suppose when you drop 3 times in a year, that's a bit of a writing on the wall. It's really disappointing, and I'm a bit saddened, to be honest, because I think he's been, and his family, and I play with his dad, and it's been a real dynasty with the 3 boys coming through and playing for the football club, and Travis lasted the longest. And yeah, it's a bit sad, but things move on, things change, and he'll go on. The big question is, what do you think Collingwood might be able to get for him at another club?
Not much, to be honest, Chris. So not on this season's form, and possibly his resistance to change. I think at the start of the year, Collingwood probably wanted him to modify his physical shape and some of his training program a little bit. I understand maybe a bit slow to do that, and now a champion like Chris Judd says he needs to play 5 kilos lighter. Lee Brown said it as well. So that's going to be the big question for him. If he is going to reclaim his best form, Chris O, he just needs to change the way he plays the game, and particularly his physical shape. The Western Bulldogs are the front runners for that, ahead of Richmond. No doubt, with Jack Redpath leaving the kennel, Clokey could slot straight in there. What does Collingwood get for him? I think the Dogs are going to try and lowball Derek Conn and his team. Maybe a 4th round pick.
Ooh,
a 5th round pick. I think that's where negotiations will start, and Collingwood will try and meet in the middle. So if they get a 3rd round pick for Trav, I think it's probably not a bad result. No way they're getting a 1st round pick for him. Not on his performance this year. I think the other one is Lin Jong. So he toured Collingwood's facilities mid-season. It was a big story at the time. How would you feel if that was a straight swap, Zhong for Cloke?
No.
Why?
Why? Oh, look,
you don't think Zhong's good enough?
I'll get to why in just a moment. Right. I'll just hold that thought, because I'll get to that.
Yep.
What we want to do now is look forward, though. What does Collingwood need to bring into the group, into the team, to make 2017 a successful year in terms of the type of player?
Well, I've got 3 priorities. I think we're going to put them up on the screen now. And the first one for me is a quick defensive small forward. Now, I know father-son Callum Brown is coming in. He's a very clever player. But I'm thinking more someone like Charlie Cameron, the speedster from Adelaide. Someone who can create a bit of chaos in that forward 50, like Jared Blair, lay the tackles, that sort of stuff. I think Elliott and Fasolo are offensively oriented forwards. I think someone in there who can create a bit of havoc with their speed and tackling would be absolutely ideal. Now, spearhead the Parsi partner, Darcy Moore. We know what kind of player Moore is. There's Cox and White, obviously, that can use as the second key forward. But I just wonder whether Collingwood's recruiting team is looking at their forward nicks and planning ahead, because I'm thinking we could do with another sort of a Tom Lynch or a Jesse Hogan. I wonder whether there's a big play in the wings to get a bloke who can play alongside Darcy Moore for the next 10 years. Do you think there's a chance of that?
Well, you'd hope so.
You know,
it would be great to get someone like Tom Lynch.
Gold. And thirdly, a slick kicking defender. Now, I know you're big on this, but Scharenberg comes in next year, which will really help. But I think kicking skills will be a big focus for Collingwood's recruiting.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because that's exactly what I reckon needs to happen.
Number one
elite
priority.
Kickers, that's it. 1, 2 and 3, elite kickers.
Yeah.
And to get back to Lin Jong, he is a wonderful player. He's hard at the contest, moves well, but I don't think he's an elite kick. And I think we have got, and Collingwood have got, a number of players who are fantastic players but are not elite kicks. And I think we're bringing players into the group. I reckon that's where it starts and finishes.
Interesting.
Need to be able to use the ball, and that's been the hallmark of Hawthorn.
Yep.
And you go through Hawthorn's list, they've focused on that, and they've been able to get elite kickers into the system, and look at the success that they've had. So that's where I reckon there needs to be a real focus.
Well, Zhong's got power and speed, and I think he can be like a like for Swanee. I mean, Swanee was never an elite kick.
No, that's true.
So I think he could play
You're
almost
comparing Lin Jong with Dane Swan now, aren't you?
It's going to be some Twitter feedback
Yeah,
about this one.
good.
I just think he
Yeah.
can play on a half-forward flank,
Okay.
midfield half-forward, and be that sort of a part of that conduit. You're right, he's not a great kick. Now, were you saying, so you got an idea about Michael Hibberd?
What do you mean?
Oh, I thought you may be talking about Collingwood maybe making a play for Michael Hibberd.
Well, no, he wants to go to Melbourne, but it's never over till it's over, Joe.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It's never over till it's
Be
over.
interested to see what Derek Hine is going to do, because their hands are tied a little bit. They don't have the first round pick that they used on Treloar for last year.
Yes.
And they've got father-sons to bring in Callum Brown and Josh Dacos. So, look, they might be able to weave some magic, but it's going to be hard, to be doing too much to be luring an A-grade player when they need the picks for the father-sons.
Well, let's look forward to 2017 and our best team for round 1 of 2017.
Yeah.
So this is going to be really interesting. Now, I've got Scharenberg at half-back.
Yep.
I've also put Howe to half-forward.
That's a big move.
That's a really big move.
He's played such good footy at half-back. But he can swing forward, and I notice also you've got Jamie Elliott back there for Solo and Varco in a forward pocket.
Solo, Varco, Moore, Elliott, Howe. Howe kicking 5 a week.
Where is Levi Greenwood, Chriso?
Injured.
He's not in that team. Why?
He's
You got
injured.
Rupert Wills ahead of him.
Yeah, I have, yep. I think Rupert Wills has shown a lot.
Okay.
And I've also got Lockie Keefe, the forgotten man.
So
I've got
do you
Lockie Keefe.
do you see him playing back or forward?
Well, he can play either, probably more back. But
Swing man.
I've got Taylor Adams on the half-back flank to direct and organise back there. I reckon
Yeah.
that's a winning move. And
didn't
Josh
see-
Smith into the back pocket.
Didn't see Benny Sinclair in your team.
He must be injured as well.
Thought he'd been
What about
okay.
what about your team? What creativity are you going to come up with for
Well,
your
I
team?
think this team is infallible. In fact, I think it's nearly perfect. Now, I've got Varco in a back pocket, Chriso, because his speed, he can break up play, he can break the lines back there.
How come you got players in red? I didn't have any players in
Well,
red. What does
these
that mean?
are the special moves. Now, Scharenberg on a half-back flank, his kicking skill is
had
going to be
Scharenberg at
absolutely
half-back. Why
perfect.
have
I
you
know,
got
but
him in
red
red?
really highlights it. Now, I think side-bottom should play forward on a half-forward flank. So you had Varco forward. I think side-bottom, the next part of his career, 3 or 4 years, can kick more goals. So we got Ace and Crisp. Ace takes the load on the wing and side-bottom goes forward. Jamie Elliott, as you have, in red, he's going to make such a difference. You can kick 40, 50 goals, Jamie Elliott, and there he is there. He's just been such a missed part of this Collingwood forward line. He's dangerous. He's a hard matchup because he does that, Chriso, which is absolutely magnificent to watch. And I think he just makes it more difficult for the opposition to defend the Collingwood forward line when he's in the team, because he is a dangerous third forward. Now, anyone you sort of you were unhappy with that team? Chriso, anything you didn't like about my side?
Well, no.
I thought it was sort of pretty perfect. You want to bring it back up again? Or?
I think the safe thing for you to do is to play Howe in the back half. And look, I would agree that he's had a wonderful year, but I just think if you've got Vasolo, Elliott, Moore and Howe up forward, I tell you that is going to be one handful for an opposition defence.
They need space, Chriso. Space is the key, isn't it? I mean,
Howe doesn't need space, mate. He just jumps over the top of people.
Goes aerially.
So that's and I had Varco up there to apply that forward pressure. I reckon that's a really important part that Collingwood's lacked a little bit of. So I think my team is beats your team by about 10 goals.
The X factor you had in there is Lockie Keefe, and it's for him and Josh Thomas have been missing from 2 years with the drug bans. Obviously, if they can have big pre-seasons, they can both go straight into the 22, which makes it a very difficult 22 to pick. And don't forget, Mason Cox is developing really quickly. The other X factor is Callum Brown. Now, he has natural footy smarts, Chriso. He's one of those players a bit like Caleb Daniel we've seen at the Western Bulldogs. Wins a lot of the footy, knows the gaps. He's a good link man. He knows where the goals are. Nice little free kick there, ducking his head. So he's going to be sort of one of those unassuming types. He's pretty small and he plays a lot of his footy sort of forward, can pinch hit in the midfield. But here he is here. He just knows the footy and makes good decisions. I think that is a lovely left foot snap. And I sort of have the feeling with Callum Brown, I don't want to put too much expectations on him early, Chris, but I reckon he can be ready to go sooner rather than later, a bit like Caleb Daniel. So I think he'll be pressing up earlier as well.
Now, we both had Matty Scharenberg in our team. Now, he's got a massive summer, hasn't he? Because at the end of it all, he's missed so much football.
2 knees.
Can he come back?
Broken foot. Well, look, he is as important to this Collingwood side and for the Collingwood game plan, I think, more than anyone, because he has got that elite kicking skill off halfback. We saw him in his under-18 year. He just reads the play, he intercept marks, and he uses the ball smartly. He's got real versatility in the back half. He was a pick number 6. Remember, Freeman went pick number 10. Chrisso was already left to St Kilda. So when I'm looking at Collingwood's best 22, he is the man that I've got circled, because he can just make such a big difference.
I agree, absolutely.
But after 2 knees and a broken foot, like, to be honest, the odds are against him a little bit. But he is as good off the field in his recovery and preparation as anyone at Collingwood. He's up there with Scotty Pendlebury.
Wow.
Absolutely meticulous.
All right, now let's take a look at a couple of the forgotten players. Now, we've mentioned a couple of them already.
Yep.
And Alex Fasolo, Jamie Elliott. The other one is Tim Broomhead.
Well, he's got skills, Chrisso. We haven't seen him a lot in recent years, to be honest. He only played 2 games this season. He played 11 games in 2015. At his best, he has the potential to be in Collingwood's best 22, because he has the things that Collingwood's possibly missing: that skill, that pace, that creativity. You know, he can be a dynamite option, but he just hasn't had the consistency and regularity to get out in the park. So Nathan Buckley would just be crossing his fingers to hope that this guy can get a full pre-season in and be in the team round 1 2017.
And speaking of 2017, what is your expectation? Where will Collingwood finish? This is the big question. We've built up to it, Jay.
Yeah. Finals. I've got absolutely no doubt.
Top 8?
Yeah. I'm putting Collingwood in my top 8 right now for next year. Simply because you look at the cattle on the park, as we just did, and it's good enough. I think the system, the coaching system really improved in that second half. That defensive sort of mechanism really stood up. Grundy's now elite. We've looked at the midfield. It dominated games. Still a bit of a question mark over the key forward structure. More and who's it going to be, White or Cox? You know, he's got a big pre-season ahead of him. But Nathan Buckley's already put this on the table. You know, it's finals or bust for him. So everything's riding on it. They need to make a very strong start to the season. We see when clubs lose 2 or 3, 4 games in the first 5 or 6 weeks, the wheels start to shake very quickly. So they need to get off to a good start, Chrisso.
Well, that's it, Jay.
What do you think? Well, you're not going to escape. What do you reckon?
Absolutely, finals.
Yeah?
Yeah, no, I think the team's there, and the improvement, particularly over the second half of the season, 5 and 5 since the bye, and that performance against Hawthorn, well, if that's the standard they can approach 2017 with, absolutely final. So really looking forward to it. Now that's it. Agenda's all over. It's all over.
Are they ahead of Richmond on the curve?
Yes.
Are they ahead of Melbourne on the curve?
Yes, I think yes.
St Kilda.
St Kilda.
And Port Adelaide.
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
I mean, it's going to be tight, because we think of the top 8 for 2017. I'm not quite sure of the top 8 this year. Who's going to drop out? Maybe North. Not going to be many spots up for grabs.
It's going to be tough.
That's it, mate.
Finals.
Agenda is all over for 2017.
We'll see you next year.
Not 2017, 2016. You have just been outstanding.
You've been magnificent. You nearly died 3 times on the set today, but you managed to, and you are gutsy.
Have a great summer. Hopefully we'll be back in 2017. Have a great summer.
Thanks for watching.
Go the Pies. Yeah, thanks for watching.